Hi guys, Keith Arkenberg Farms. It is about the third week of April, so that means it's about time to start planting potatoes because we have our average last frost coming up next week. So behind me here is my very ambitious plan this year. I'm taking this acre block and I'm going that way with it instead of going across ways with it. So 450 foot long beds, onions, and I'm gonna have potato. So I've got roughly 160 pounds, maybe 200, I can't remember exactly what I ordered. Some of it's come in, some of it hasn't. But with the seed potatoes, I'm cheap and I don't want to plant the whole potatoes when they're that big around. I still believe in cutting them apart. I was talking to a guy earlier, an Englishman, and he told me, well, you need to get a wire and start cutting them. Got the wheels in my head rolling. So I think I have a good way to do it. So we're gonna walk around and kind of look at some stuff and try to figure out what's gonna work best. I've also got a lot of that prepped. Got stuff planted here. This side over here is getting planted. That side over there is purple and a disaster, but that's a whole different story. So anyways, we're gonna head over and look at some different materials for cutting our potatoes across. So your number one material for a wire would just be a standard wire. This is really small gauge electric fence wire. You see the reel on the side right there. Got this out of the greenhouse. I actually have that up for trellising in the greenhouse. I also have this, a bunch of fencing, 2x4 weld wire fencing. This might work as well. I'm worried that it might be a little thick and it will not cut the potatoes as well. The idea with the wire is you stretch a wire over something, you take your potato, you push it on there, and it should just push through and cut it. So that's what the goal is. The other way you cut seed potatoes is with a knife and you just cut, and then you cut, and then you cut. Make sure you have an eye in each. This way I can make an X and drop things into quarters, and if they're bigger, possibly with the weld wire, because they're 2 inches, then it will give me 2-inch slices. So I'm not 100% certain on that at this point, but I'm gonna go get some other materials and kind of work my way across this. But first, I want to come into the pack house here, grab a bag of seed potatoes and kind of look at them. They just showed up the other day. I actually got organic seed potatoes. I got a couple bags in here from High Mowing, which is starting to feel a little damp. I probably need to let that door stay open a little bit. Let me move my way out here to the middle of the floor and start looking what we have here. So, got 40-pound bags. They're rather large. I mean, they're starting to sprout, which is good. You only need one dormant eye to make a potato, but something like that, about baseball size, I would cut into 4 pieces. See what else we have in here. Again, 4, maybe 5 pieces. And it looks like, turn you around, pretty much the majority of them are about that size. Oh, and these babies are primed and ready to go. They must have been kept in cold storage. They've warmed up, because these did not have eyes 2 days ago. Okay. Yeah, those look really good. All right, that gives me an idea what I'm working with. So now I need to find something to cut them with. The main thing with cutting them up is you don't want to cut them too small. If you cut them too small, there's not much storage left for doing and pushing out roots. Like a little tiny potato like that, I'd probably only cut that in half. Doesn't look like there's any. No, there's a super small one. Most people would just plant this. I'm cheap, side would still cut that in half. So that kind of gives me my idea of what I need to set up to start building something for this. Okay, I had two ideas. Either use some of this 4-inch pipe I have back behind me, which would be great. I could go through and do a cross across it, or use the weld wire and make multiple crosses across it. Or the other option I had was cutting a hole in a piece of wood and then screwing it down to it. I think I'm going to try this first. So I'm going to take this over and I'm going to cut off a section of this to hopefully secure some wire to. Okay, so it's starting to get late tonight, so I'm not going to set up full bench and all that fun stuff. Got a bucket, got my piece of pipe, cut off, I don't know, is that 8-10 inches? Not even very square, as you can see. Square side I'm going to put down, other side shouldn't really particularly matter. So I'm going to go use my handsaw, that's what I cut it off with. I'm going to cut a groove in both sides. Just like that. So went down about that far on both sides. Now I'm going to turn it 90 degrees so I can make an X and do that again. Not have to be super accurate. The only thing I'm looking for is get a groove deep enough. So I've got the 4 grooves right there. Now I'm opting to use my electric fence wire because it's coated and it's cleaner than the baling wire or the other fence wire I had. Just going to take off a section of it. That back there so it doesn't unreel itself anymore. About that long. Go about centered. Push it into the groove. Pull it tight. Push it into the groove directly across from it. Then I'm going to go around. Back in my other groove. Just pliers for this. Make sure it seats down in there. You can pull it tight. And we come back across. Seat it down in there. So we have that. Now I'm going to take my other 2 ends, twist them together to where I get a nice twist on it. Take my pliers and give it another couple turns, which will help tension everything together. Oh, but see, I twisted too much and popped it. So I'm gonna have to repeat that and do that again. Okay, did that a second time. So now I have my nice little X of wires in the middle of it. Now we're gonna head back up to the pack building, go get some of those seed potatoes and start pushing them through it and see what they look like. Oh, I did bend that little thing over. I'm gonna wrap some tape around it so I don't hit myself because I'm gonna be using this quite a bit to cut all these potatoes out. So here we go. So in here with my bag of potatoes and my cutter, I actually added some tape to make it to where there weren't as hard of sides on it. I found out if I just kind of push on it, it's got quite a bit of resistance. So I've got to really push it until it pops. But after that, it cuts right through. It gives me 4 nice quartered pieces of potatoes. The other way I found is to lay it down and just same thing. 4 nice quartered piece of potatoes. So I guess now I just work on it, you know, like a smaller one like that. I'm only going to cut that in half, so I only put it on one of the wires and not all of them. What would be really nice is if somehow I could mount this thing to a bucket and then everything would fall into the bucket. And that worked actually pretty well. But I'm also throwing them into an open mesh tote because now they're going to have to heal during this process. They're going to have to dry for a day or two so the cut edge actually heals off. And then from there, I'll go put them out in the field. I don't know, maybe next week I'll show you that or whatever else I'm doing this week. But I have not determined yet what I'm doing. I do know these have to go in. As you can see, I already had that one bed prepped. Have 200-pound nitrogen equivalent in that bed, which just so happens to be my fertilizer drop spreader customization that I did, I think it was last week, maybe the week before. Go back and check it out. If I filled up all the way to the top, that one 450-foot run is exactly one hopper full. So if I leave a bag at both ends, I can go back and fill up and go back. And a bag does 2 runs all the way down that 450 foot, which actually is pretty cool because I didn't actually calculate that, but it happens to work great, which is very, very awesome when things are conveniently convenient. That way I'm not having to put bags in the middle. Ooh, there's a big one. See how you work. Oh yeah. A little bit bigger. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it because I've got 4 or 5 of these bags I've got to do. So I'm going to keep cutting and come back to you here in a second. Okay, that little booger actually worked pretty good. 40-pound sweet potatoes. I did find some with a little bit of black rot on the inside, so I tried to cut off most of that and pitch it. From here, basically just going to let them sit in these totes. I'll rotate them around so these will heal off. It's probably going to take a day or two. I'm just going to cover them. So these my dark red Northern potatoes. We'll cover them with the sack it came with. Keep the light out. Keep there from moving too much. And go put them in the corner over there. Let them sit. Hopefully this weekend I'll be able to plant them. So pretty simple. Very, very easy tool to make. I wish the wire was a little bit smaller because I really did have to smack on them quite a bit. I palm my hands a little sore, but hey, it is what it is. A lot easier than if I just would have went chop, 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 chop. I can just grab another one like I did before. So, hope y'all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.